Moisture is the essence of wetness. And wetness is the essence of beauty.
Hello my fellow hunters, and welcome to, honestly, the most exciting Event Quest week since Event Quest started. We're not gonna waste any time. You need to walk up to that male cat right the hell now. You need to look him deep into his little beady eyes, and you need to demand the new armor and weapons right now. Because, yes indeed, it is the USJ crossover update event with lots of new delicious goodies that we're actually going to make whole new sets with. Oh, and if that wasn't enough for you, there is of course the Meow Limit Palico. Hello. Which is basically an unkillable healing god support, which really, yeah, go get him. He is fantastic, and yes, healing Palico's out the best, but for certain builds and just general play, he is comfort personified in cat form. There's also the next Apex emergency in the form of Diablos. And, well, it might not be anything on Extreme Bloodbath. This is, well, you're gonna get quite the beating. And then there's Wrestling with Pain, an Azeroth, and a Tetranadon in the Infernal Springs, for not only a royal throwdown of fun, and some new pose action too. But that aside, let's get to the meat of this wonderful day. So there are two event quests tied to the USJ crossover, and they are both fairly amusing. The first then is a Rampage. This one is for the Palico and Palamute weapons and armor, and I know a lot of you can't bear rampages, but bear with me, because this one is very good. It's just got a lot of Azeroses in, and it's Apex Azeroth at the end. You know, a bit of bloodlusting kind of action. As far as rampages go, it's not the worst, but it's there, so that's nice. As far as Palamute and Palico equipment go, I mean, it's Palamute and Palico equipment. It's basically an aesthetic choice. They're fine, and, well, knock yourself out. Though, special mention to, of course, the Palamute equipment as the only new visual armor or weapons in this update, as the rest of it is just the Iceborne stuff, but in Rise. And yeah, he is a very pretty looking dog. So, let's get to the meat of the juice. That is not an expression. The second event quest is a Tetranadon, a Almudron, and a Magnamalo on the Shrine Ruins. Given its event quest, they can be big, they can be small, but they all need to fall if you are going to get what it is you're after. Once more, a unique reward, and this is what you need to take to the smithy to get the USJ Armor set, including, of course, the layered version and the weapons. Just a final note on the event quest, they're free fun monsters, and it is certainly just a serviceable fine one. I was hoping for something a little bit more crazy, but hey, it gets the job done, and, you know, hunting in of itself is always fun, and in this case, the goal at the end makes it very worth it. So then, to the blacksmith, to craftsmith. The weapons we shall look at first, and it is a longsword and a bow. I know they are probably the two weapons that least need extra options, given their relative power level and popularity, but hey, it was a bow and longsword last time, and we're basically just getting the Iceborne stuff again, so that's kind of why it's a bow and longsword this time, and also it kind of makes sense giving the popular weapons more options, because they're more likely to get used, because most people use them, but yeah, I do wish it was a little bit more diverse, maybe like the guild weapons in Iceborne, where everybody gets one, but look, it's nice to have new stuff. The question is then, is it good stuff? Well, the longsword itself is 180 raw, there is 37 water on it, there is 20 hits of white, 30% affinity, a level 3 slot, and our ramp-ups are anti-aerial plus 10% affinity, and a bit of water boost. So, it's not the best. if we compare it to the Chameleos longsword, which isn't the technical best longsword, but it is the best comfortable longsword, it has a true raw when you account for the best ramp-ups and the natural affinity and the sharpness of 283. The USJ longsword, even with its natural 20% affinity, an extra 10% from the ramp-up, and natural white, well, it only ends up at 261, which is, of course, appreciably less than Chameleos. Now, of course, the water damage has not been taken into account, and in the situation where you want to make an extreme water-focused longsword build that still does okay raw damage for water-weak monsters because you just got to be different, well then yeah, I guess use it, you're gonna have okay results. It's also a very pretty longsword and not that much worse than Chameleos and Tigrex that you could use it, but yeah, it's not going to become the new default by any means. Sad longsword noises. I'm kidding, this weapon does not need any extra help, goddamn. On the bow side of things, well, it's a little bit of a nicer picture. 190 raw, 25 water, 20% affinity, a level 3 slot, and it is a spread bow with some anti-aerial, water boost, and affinity 4 as the extra options. This basically makes it the best water spread option in the game. If you like using spread and you're fighting a water weak enemy, well, this is the bow for you. In the situation where you don't want to be using spread shot, well then you're probably still gonna just be using a water rampage bow, so yeah, that's kind of where that stands. It's a lot closer to the best than the longsword camp, but it doesn't de facto become the best. For me, I will probably use it because I really like spread bow, it's my favorite, and against water weak enemies, this does make a lot of sense, but other than that, it will still be the alternatives. So that's how the weapons shake up. And that's also how they shake up statistically. I'm sorry, that was really bad. The armor set itself then, apart from looking gorgeous, even in spite of it just being, of course, a clone from the Iceborne one, which, to be fair, does aesthetically absolutely completely fit with Chimera Village and Rise, so I can't really blame them too much, does have quite the interesting spread of skills. As you can see, it is essentially covered in stamina and elemental skills on the whole, with a little spattering of weakness exploit, a bit of quick sheath, hell, even focus on the legs, and of course water attack to go with the matching weapons. So look, this is where things get interesting, because these pieces kind of offer a few things that haven't really been offered by any of the other armors so far. I will say something to begin with though. If you are currently using a weapon whose best build involves using 5 pieces of Valstrax for Dragonheart and a nice solid raw build, none of this will improve anything for you. None of it's strong enough to go down to 4 pieces of Valstrax and lose a Dragonheart. None of it's going to really shake things up for you. It is, however, going to provide some niche options. So, for example, my fellow greatsword users out there, these legs by themselves with 2 quick sheath and a focus and a level 2 and level 1 kind of almost open up a traditional, normal, crit draw-esque playstyle that, don't get me wrong, will still be relatively bad, but at least maybe usable, whereas before I've just not been able to make it work in any kind of relevant capacity. So hey, maybe expect that coming a little bit later, so at least it will open up some fun options. However, if you are a bow user, the chest is something you're really going to enjoy, as Constitution 2, a Weakness Exploit 1, and a level 2 slot is fantastic. 3 solid skills that you need, and a level 2 slot. This is incredibly efficient and will likely become the new de facto chest for bow builds, and will then rearrange your other armor pieces accordingly to allow for the skills upon it. This is really quite exciting. The helmet is also quite the consideration in any water elemental build. as long as you also value stamina. So dual blades and bow, if you're going full water, the head is a very good choice, both for the con 2, the little bit of water attack, and that extra level 2 slot is going to come in quite handy. This has got more competition than the chest, but certainly is an option. The main thing that draws to mind though when looking all of this is it's a really efficient critical element set. The arms by themselves for both dual blades and bow, if you're going full elemental, are quite tasty. That said though, critical element in Rise isn't really that strong. It's not really worth dropping even just bonus raw skills for after you've capped your level 5 element attack up. So it's not like it's crazy useful, it's not like it's going to suddenly revolutionize element, but it might result in a situation where you can get a bit of bonus critical element as just a little bit extra of a bump, and will certainly come in handy for anyone who wants to go maximum element, who wants to just push it to the absolute limit, take the exploit ramp up, get the level 5 elemental attack, get 100% affinity and level 3 critical element, and just have fun with whatever element. Well, this armor set suddenly gives you an actually viably efficient way to do that, and I'm certainly going to explore into it. So the kind of bottom line here is there's a lot of interesting pieces, primarily for anyone who likes element and stamina. There's some fun stuff to be done here. It's not going to replace the Valstrax meta, but it certainly is going to add a few layers of fun for a few weapons that can make something creative, interesting, niche, or at the very least quirky, and I certainly plan on exploring that. I hope then you enjoyed that little tiny roundup. It's not completely earth-shattering, maybe not as much as we hoped, and certainly doesn't really do much to the raw side of the builds and the weapons and the community, but there is certainly stuff here that is of interest and that gets the old theory crafting building brain revved up for the first time since 3.0, and you know what? At this point, I will take it. I hope then that you have enjoyed this. Like if you indeed did, subscribe for more. Please consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. And, well, enjoy the new exciting USJ-fueled times descending upon our Monster Hunter Rise. Oh, goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.